Alright, what's going on boys, it's the Lone Courier here. So I'm here to talk to you guys today about Black Ops Cold War, because we've had a leak about it recently which is saying that when the game drops it's going to have 4 remasters on day 1. Now these 4 remasters are going to be Nuketown, Jungle, Summit, Firing Range, and possibly we'll have a couple others in the game. I'm not assuming they'll be at launch, the 4 maps will be there at launch, but I'm assuming there will be more throughout the year. And I just want to talk to you guys today about that, because recently, over the last few years, Treyarch have been really bad for just remastering stuff constantly. It just seems that Treyarch, years ago they were really good at making new content. Like from Black Ops 3, Black Ops 3 I would say was the last year that they made some really good original content. But from Black Ops 4 onwards, it just feels like they've gotten really lazy. There's been a shitload of remasters since Black Ops 3, really. BO3 wasn't too bad for remasters. They had maps in that game which were remakes. They had Raid and a couple other maps in Black Ops 3, but it didn't feel like there was an oversaturation in BO3 with old maps. Like for the most part there was Nuketown, there was a couple of other maps, there was Raid that got remade. They had Standoff from Black Ops 2 as well. But they were all maps that hadn't really been remastered before. Like Raid had never been remastered. Obviously Black Ops 3, it's the first time it's been remastered because there's one game in between BO1 and BO2, or BO2 and BO3. So first time that got remastered, it's never been remastered since. And they also had Standoff from BO2 as well, which was the first time it ever got remade as well. So in Black Ops Cold War, we are going to be getting Jungle, Summit, Firing Range and Nuketown. Now, Nuketown has been in every single Black Ops game, so as it stands, this will be the 5th time that we've seen Nuketown. At this point, it feels like they can't actually have a Black Ops game without bringing back Nuketown. It's kind of like Nuketown is the Treyarch equivalent of Shipment. Shipment has returned in basically every single Modern Warfare game, or most Infinity Ward games actually, and then even Sledgehammer games had Shipment in 1944 in World War II. So Shipment is probably another map that's came back just as many times as Nuketown has. There was a version of it in Ghosts as well, which was actually not too bad, but I'd say that they totally kind of rechanged that map in Ghosts. It was a lot bigger and it was a lot more enjoyable on Ghosts actually, compared to the way it is in Modern Warfare and the way it is in the other games. But as I said, man, like Treyarch, they're really reliant as of late on remastering old content. Like I had a notepad here yesterday, which I'm just going to dig out now, where I've written down all the remakes in Black Ops over the last few years. So in Black Ops 3 there was a pre-order incentive for Black Ops 4 which is called the Back in Black playlist. It featured Jungle, Slums, Firing Range and Summit. Now Slums isn't going to be returning in Black Ops 5, I'm assuming, or Black Ops Cold War. Don't think it's going to be in the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did turn up. Anyway, they were in Black Ops 3 in the Back in Black playlist, which was a Sony exclusive. You don't get it on Xbox or PC, it's only on PlayStation, which were all launch maps in Black Ops 4, and honestly these maps, they're literally all just ported backwards for Black Ops 3. They're the exact same as they are in Black Ops 4, all the textures are the exact same, the maps look the exact same, there is no texture differences between both sets of maps. So you had 4 maps which are in BO3, and then they come back in Black Ops 4, which is 2 times within the space of a year. It's a bit lazy, but you know, it's not like they just remade the content, they just ported it over. Then you also are going to get Jungle, Summit and Firing Range to return in Black Ops Cold War, which is going to be the 3rd time that we've seen these maps over the last couple of years, which is just getting a little bit ridiculous now. And in Black Ops 4, I've got a wee list of the remastered maps here. So at first you had the Back in Black playlist in Black Ops 4, which wasn't called that, it was just the standard rotation. There was 4 maps at launch, then they added Nuketown just a month after launch, so that's 5 that they had at that point. They went on to add WMD, Launch, Havana, and they also added in Grind from Black Ops 2 as well. Some of these maps were free, some of them were remakes. And then you also had a bunch of day 1 remakes in the game. Now you had 9 classic map remasters in the game once you had all the DLC released for the game. So 9 DLC maps which are all old maps. Then you had day 1 remakes, as I said. You had Hacienda Twilight, Jungle Flooded, Seaside Sunset, Firing Range at Night, Contraband Hurricane, Arsenal Sandstorm. Now a bit lazy to see day 1 remakes in a game, especially considering 2 of these maps are map remakes which have appeared twice in the game already. You had Firing Range, Night and Jungle Flooded. Now, both of these maps are going to be getting remade in Black Ops Cold War. They were also featured in Black Ops 3 in the Back in Black playlist. So that is about 3 times that we're going to see these maps in the space of 3 years. That is absolutely ridiculous. There is no way that people find this acceptable. Jungle is a decent enough map. Firing Range is a good map. Firing Range is in fact one of the better maps in the Black Ops franchise in my honest opinion. I love Firing Range, can't get enough of it. But when I say I can't get enough of it, I don't want to see it come back this many times. This is bordering on ridiculous. Like, there is no way that people enjoy seeing a map come back this many times. Especially considering the fact that when these maps come back in this next game, they're going to be the exact same. In Black Ops 2, they remade Firing Range. They called it Studio, and it was set in a Los Angeles Hollywood style backlot where it's a film set and you've got the back areas of it. It reminds you a lot of the Disney parks, especially it was MGM at first. It's called Hollywood Studios now, but it reminded me a lot of that Hollywood, that Disney park anyway. So it was a cool map, cool concept in Black Ops 2. They remade the map, but it was totally different and it didn't really look like Firing Range. Obviously, it still had everything like Firing Range, but it was new. It was a new concept. It was cool. But then we had Black Ops 3's Firing Range, which is just the exact same as it was in Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 4 is the exact same because they're just a lazy port over. So in Black Ops Cold War, you can assume that it's just going to be the exact same map because they can't really stretch things and make it a Hollywood back studio because it just wouldn't work in a Black Ops Cold War game. So that means that we're going to have the exact same map come back and it's going to be the exact same appearance. There's going to be no changes at all, which just, it gets really, really boring after a while seeing the same maps come back, right? So, as I say, Day 1 remakes, there was 16 of them. No, wait, there was 15 of them actually. So that's including the Day 1 remakes. There was 6 of those, including the 9 remastered maps. There was 15 in total remade maps in the game. And then there was only 19 new maps, which means that under half of the content in Black Ops 4 is old. And then it gets worse when you factor in zombies, because they had 2 zombies remasters at launch. You had Mob of the Dead and you had 5, which were called Classified and Blood of the Dead. They're both remastered maps with some new areas thrown in. And then in the DLC lifecycle for Ether storyline, you also had Alpha Omega, which was a remake of Nuketown Zombies with some new areas added into it. And then you had Tag Der and Toten, which was just a remake of Call of the Dead with some more areas added into it. So that's literally about half of the content in the game is recycled. And then you can get really petty and say that Blackout was mainly recycled content as well, because Blackout was a battle royale mode which featured the greatest hits of the Black Ops series with all these really good map areas. They featured bits like Firing Range, they featured the satellite array from Array. They had a lot of old school areas in the map, which wasn't really a bad thing in my opinion, because it's not like you're just porting over an old map into the multiplayer. Blackout was its new experience, and to have the old maps return and be repurposed in the battle royale map, it was cool. Like, I didn't mind that at all. In fact, Warzone's kind of taken a lot of cues from Blackout. They've redesigned a lot of their old school maps into the Warzone map. Like, there's Scrapyard, there's the Boneyard, there's all these different key locations from the original Modern Warfare trilogy. So they've kind of done the same thing there, but just not as on the nose as they did in Blackout, because, you know, you don't really figure out that some of these areas are the exact same as they were in the old maps, and they aren't exactly the exact same. They're quite different in some places, but it's just really lazy anyway, that Treyarch are so hell-bent on remastering old maps all the time. It's just infuriating, because they can actually make good maps when they try. But with that being said, a lot of the Black Ops 4 DLC maps were absolute garbage, man. Like, some of them were just fucking abysmal. I played on one of the Black Ops 4 DLC maps recently. It was called Lair, and it's basically this big superhero kind of fucking like place. It's hard to even describe it. It's almost like the Avengers Tower, right? But it's basically the Black Ops equivalent, because in the last season of Black Ops 4 it was called Dark Divide, and it was all superheroes and all this shit, which is just ridiculous in a Black Ops game. Like, we play Black Ops because we're into, you know, this sort of stuff that they go for with that game, you know, like bringing back old characters like Hudson and bringing back all this cool stuff in the game. And like the zombies season was cool and all this stuff. There was really cool seasons in Black Ops 4. And then they came to Dark Divide and it's just like, come on, man, like, really? And it's the fact that they've ended off the game now and they've just left it on Dark Divide is really frustrating. Because there was the the Cops and Robbers season, which was really cool too, when they added Hot Pursuit, and they're like, just, nah man, it's just really frustrating going on about Black Ops 4, because they just rehashed so much content in that game, it was ridiculous. And then there's the fact that also they brought back all the specialists from Black Ops 3 too, like they literally never even added a single new specialist into the game. I'm actually trying to think right now if there is a single new specialist in Black Ops 4 other than Zero. And, well, there was a couple, like Recon and stuff like that, but when you think about Recon and Crash, Crash is quite new, there was nothing like him in Black Ops 3, but Recon is basically just Outrider with some different abilities, like he's got Vision Pulse just like Outrider did, and he's got his, the wee shot, the sensor dart even, which is kind of cool. There was nothing like that in BO3 either, but for the most part there's not many new specialists in the game at all. It's all just like new-ish specialists with like old-ish specialists with some new-ish abilities. It's just really lazy on Treyarch's part. Like for this next game, I just want it to be good and to stand on its own 2 feet without having to rely on rehashing old content all the time. It just feels like the developers make new content, it doesn't go over as well as they thought it would, so they lean and they just start remaking old stuff, and it just gets really boring and bland after a while. Like there is only so many times that you can play Jungle, Firing Range, Summit and Nuketown before you get bored of them eventually, because they're the same maps. There is no differences in them any time that they come out, and that's the worst part about them. Is Nuketown, I know that people love it and it doesn't feel like a Black Ops game if it doesn't have Nuketown, but there is plenty of other good small maps that Treyarch have made over the years, like Dome. That was an exceptional map. You've got Airfield, is it Airfield? No Airfield. I'm going to put them on screen right now because I can't really remember the names as well, but there is some baller small maps in World at War that they could remake, and it's a Cold War game, but you can repurpose these World War II maps to make them suit the Cold War era. Like there's that map where it's kind of inside and it's got a bit of a hangar inside. I'll put this one on the screen so you know what map I'm talking about here, but they could repurpose that so it's either an American or a Soviet hangar rather than being a Japanese airfield, right? And that would work. Like, it would work really well, because if you retexture stuff and change out the flags and make it look cool, you can make it believable that it's not just a Japanese airfield and that it's to fit in with the Cold War setting, because it could. I'm not asking them to remaster tons of maps in this game, because honestly at this point I'm fucking sick of seeing remastered maps all the time, and that's the issue when it comes to these games. Is everybody talks about what old content they want to see return, and it's like, yeah, old content's good, some of the maps are amazing, but I'd rather have new maps that are amazing than having the old maps that are good back so many times. Like Firing Range was one of the better maps in Black Ops 4, without a doubt. At launch was one of the best maps in the game, but that's the issue. It's one of the best maps because the new maps aren't as good as the old ones. Like, that is the problem right there. Just they don't make content as good as they used to, which they can if they try, because they made some pretty good maps in Black Ops 3, so I don't know how they can't in Black Ops 4. Hopefully for this next game they actually get their shit in gear, because I'd like to see a new game that features new content rather than just rehashing old stuff all the time. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Leave your opinions in the comments below. Would you like to see more original maps, or are you one of these guys that just likes to see remasters all the time? Because personally, I hate seeing remasters all the time. It just feels really lazy in my opinion. So yeah, leave a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. I'm just trying to grow this channel up a wee bit more. It's my old channel was my gaming channel, so I swapped over to this one now, so I'm just trying to grow up my viewer base a wee bit. But yeah, leave your opinions in the comments below as well. I'd love to hear from you boys. And yeah, stay safe everyone. Have a good day. Peace.